You're listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. On today's episode, hosts Stephen and Mariah give you the full inside look of what is currently happening at Cambridge Network. Today's episode is sponsored by Georgiana Bruce Kirby Preparatory School, a co-ed day school for grades 6 through 12 located in Santa Cruz. Thanks for listening.
Cambridge Insider Podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. It's a snowy and cold February on the East Coast. I know, Mariah, my co-host, you've been seeing similar weather in upstate New York.
Yeah, it has been in the negatives, and today it's like 25, and that feels like heaven. And so, it's been cold when 25 feels great.
Yeah, good point. I know that I've seen some great photos going around on Cambridge's social media, just of students on the East Coast, just enjoying, some of the snowy weather.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't get all over the world, and I've seen a lot of great pics. So we're glad to see that our students are, relishing this little weather massacre, I think, that we're having here on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's the one time you see teenagers excited about shoveling their driveway.
Exactly. So for today's episode, we thought it would be, given that, we're in I want to say the middle of the winter, but spring is sort of, somewhere on the horizon. There's a lot of things that are happening at Cambridge. There's a lot of things that are happening with our school partners as we sort of prepare for the new school year. And I know that sounds early, but there's so much work that goes in right now in this month and the next couple of months that will be applicable come fall of 2026 and the start of that 26-27 school year. So we'll be reminding you a little bit about that, giving you a little behind the scenes look at exactly what we're doing here at Cambridge.
Yeah, you can kick it off.
So first and foremost, I think I know it's been probably our school partners have heard a lot from us, but a lot of student re-enrollment happening right now. Mariah, do you want to sort of just give our listeners a little detail into what does that mean? We hear that often, student re-enrollment. Shouldn't it just be easy? From a Cambridge side, what are we seeing?
Yeah, so right now, currently, we're in Lunar New Year's season. So a lot of our schools, so thank you to schools that are doing this, but we also have our local support coordinators and our ARDs, regional directors in the area, catching up with a lot of students, especially because these celebrations. This is just like one of those good touches to help the decision of a student returning to that school, returning to Cambridge Network as well. And so currently right now, our ARDs and our local support coordinators are busy doing visits. They're doing check-ins, but they have to do those anyways. So it just happens that Lunar New Year, it's a good checking point to do it. The kids are excited to celebrate. They're excited to see people too. So it makes it easier. And so we try to use those events and those touch points as leverage, as well as we always send our students resources every month in a newsletter as well, and try to get them plugged into our student council, just so they feel connected in all spheres.
Absolutely. And just a reminder to our school partners, student experience is often directly related to student re-enrollment. So we obviously want to keep our re-enrollment numbers high, as do our partners. We want students to be there for year 1, year 2, year 3, up until when they graduate. And so the small things that we do throughout the year, the way we communicate, the efficiency of our communication, the small things that we do that increase and improve a student's experience, at our program are really, really crucial. And we often see that play out right now when we get to certain students that go, I don't want to re-enroll. Why not? Well, I don't feel valued at the school, or they weren't able to help me with A, B, and C. And we're not saying, do everything and anything for students within reason, but it's really about that student experience. We want students to feel welcomed. We want students to feel supported. We want parents and families, natural parents in particular, to feel like their students are really well taken care of. And so things like communication and communicating promptly are super important. You might have our team reach out to you and say, hey, can you potentially issue a letter for a student that's reconsidering whether they want to enroll or not? So these are just things that we're seeing, and a good reminder of how important it is for us, both at Cambridge's level and at our program, our programs that we partner with, to do absolutely everything to make these students feel welcome and valued within our programs. The other thing that I think goes hand in hand with that is, host re-enrollment. And I know this is something that Mariah's been incredibly, hands-on with. It's always a tough task for us, and our program and our team does such an incredible role. But again, Mariah, if you want to maybe just give our listeners a little insight into host re-enrollment. Why is it important, right? People think host re-enrollment, that's got nothing to do with international students. Why is it important, and sort of what does it entail?
Yeah, host re-enrollment affects a lot of things in our company. So we start almost like 2 months ago. We put feelers out to any of our hosts that currently have students and saying, hey, are you good? Do you want your student next year? How's it going? Thankfully, most hosts say yes, we're good to keep our student again next year. And then just this last week, we put out to any of our unmatched hosts a survey that says, are you willing to stay onboarded for next year if you're able to get a student in your area? That's really important because the larger our host pool is, especially with people who don't have students, the more that our sales teams know, oh, this is a healthy host pool. I can recruit for the school because I know that there's hosts in the area. And so I would say that our unmatched hosts are so critical to the health of our programs and the prediction of what students can go where, and like confidence for our sales teams. So we tried to all year connect with our unmatched hosts, sending them newsletters, thanking them for, even though they don't have a student, being willing at any time to take a student on respite, or just even for a short period of time as they wait to go to their full-time host. So if you ever have an unmatched host in your school and you know that their host, they don't have a student, thank them, because it really does help your recruitment in your area. So that's what we're doing right now, is just getting the feelers out who's available for next year.
Absolutely. And again, going back to the student experience part, great hosts mean students often are housed in really loving families that, increase their probability and their likelihood that they want to continue their education and stay in that area. So it's such a crucial part of what we do. The final two things that I think we wanted to update just schools on, and a lot of schools know we're doing this, is new enrollment, new students that will hopefully be enrolling in the fall of 26. And then alongside that is, some of the travel that we're doing from Cambridge's side. I wanted to touch, I think, first on the new enrollment. I think one of the trends we're seeing, and we continue to see this the last couple of years, is that schools are a little bit late in terms of sort of analyzing where their student numbers are and what needs to be put in place in order for them to get increased student numbers. We know that the market is challenging. We know that the market is saturated. We've done a lot of podcasts sort of detailing that. And we've done a lot of podcasts in terms of, what is the remedy to that? How can we find solutions to that? And I think we've got some really good answers that the data continues to show that really work if you are looking to increase the number of students in your program. But I would really advise schools to be a little bit more proactive, not to get to May and June and go, oh, we don't have enough students. Can we do something in this last month to up, student numbers? If you haven't been doing a lot of the things that we've been talking about in the last couple of podcast episodes, or numerous podcast episodes before that even, and now's really a time to think about that. If you're looking for increased students in the fall, now's the time you've got to be putting that equity in and really working and doing strategic plans and putting those in place right now if you want to see the payoff. It isn't student recruitment, as we know. You've got to go through recruiting the student applying, interviewing, acceptances, enrollment contracts, payments, I-20s, visas. It's a long process. And so the work that you put in today would pay off only in a couple months from now. So really just being a little bit more proactive in terms of your student recruitment. Mariah, I don't know if there's anything that you've seen, especially on the social media side, or anything that you'd like to mention about that as well.
No, I think you pretty much covered it on the importance for that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that goes hand in hand with that is, we're super excited. We're traveling again, and, we've got a group of schools that are going to China in March, and then we've got another group of schools that are going to Vietnam and to Korea, and some of those schools will then, add on an additional leg in China, and it's just, I just want to give a real shout out to all of our teams across the globe that are working on these trips. There's a ton of agency relationships, networking events, seminars, agency trainings, in-person interviews that make up the core value of these trips, and our teams have been working day and night to make sure that those are set up for our school partners that are going. So it's exciting to see that there are full schedules, that we are taking numerous of our partners, and a big shout out to those partners as well. They understand the value of these trips. They understand the value of digital marketing, and then being able to follow that up with an in-person meet and an in-person networking event where you can actually network and interview students, agents, families. And so we've got an excited group of partners, and we're looking forward to a really, really successful March trip.
Awesome.
Mariah, anything from your side final? We've run through those 4 things. I think it's nice for our listeners to sort of get an idea of what's happening behind the scenes. If you have questions about them, feel free to reach out. But any questions or any sort of final comments from your side about those?
Yeah, no, that's all I was going to say is that if you're hearing all this information and you want to know more specifics about your school or about even like the different AREs or LSCs that are in your program, just feel free to reach out to Stephen, or we have a blank email called schoolconnect@cambridgenetwork.com. Send that an email. That'll be in the show notes as well. But that's how you can get connected if you need to find out anything for more specific to your school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To all of our listeners, those on the East Coast, stay warm. Those on any of the other coasts or in the middle of America that had great weather, just enjoy the weather, because you never know when it could turn.
Right.
Remember to like, listen, and subscribe, and we will catch you around the next episode of the Cambridge Insider podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Cambridge Insider podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. For more Cambridge updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Have a great week and stay connected.